I am joined by my friend Adam. Hello, Adam.
How are you doing, Andy?
Do you know I'm better than last week when my voice was absent,
Yeah.
basically? Which,
Yes. Well, Joe filled in admirably for you. So
yeah.
we had
Um,
a lovely conversation.
you see, my job, it's not so good without the voice. I can't get away doing my job without the voice.
Right after we started a podcast in 2019, about 4 months before COVID, and then I got COVID in March of 2020, and my COVID turned into pertussis, also known as whooping cough,
Wow.
and then I got pneumonia. I wasn't ever hospitalized, but I was sick probably 5 or 6 months from end to end. And in the middle of that, I got laryngitis. And I just said, guys, I can't, I can't even talk. I mean, it wasn't like scratchy voice. It was no voice at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was, that was a crazy season that. So don't ever want to do that again.
No, and with what you and I do, sir, the voice. I know people think, oh, you can get by, you can text, you can email. Well, yes, you can. But if you're delivering a radio show or doing what you
Yeah.
do, sharing stuff, you kind of have to be able to talk. And
You got
AI,
to be able to talk.
I've got a thought on this in a minute, but you can't do AI for everything. I know it's clever, but I mean, we don't use AI ever. That's a principle for me, but it
That's a
only
good
goes so far.
principle. It only goes so far though. Yeah. I mean, we've actually done some videos where we've recorded our voices and then put it into some sort of AI robot machine. And it's close enough that it could fool you if you're not paying really close attention. But it's still as creepy as I'll get out, as far as I'm concerned.
I watched something recently. It was on the discovery of the Endurance, the ship, the Endurance, which was
Mm.
Shackleton's ship to the South
Yeah, yeah,
Antarctic.
yeah.
And it was a Discovery Channel thing, and it's basically tracking them. Can we find the ship? And it's all
Yeah.
submarines and all that. But on the side of that, throughout, or navigating all the way through, they've got some of the original video footage that was shot, which was phenomenal to think they could do that in 1915 or whatever with a the hand
Oh,
cranked
yeah.
video camera. But then at the end of the thing, because I'm thinking, wow, they've got the voices. This is impressive. They don't quite sound right, but okay, maybe they've been digitized. Artificial intelligence was used to create some of the narrative of some of the people. And I'm thinking, well, I thought it sounded a bit odd. So
Right.
it sort of took away all the magic of that particular documentary I just watched.
It does. It does. And I actually think if we're really on a tangent, we haven't even really started. I think that if we passed a law that said you have to label something as I think it would reduce demand because I think most of us naturally are not interested in something that wasn't created by people.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the anti-robot league will be taking up arms against those sorts of prejudices in the future. But um, I'm not interested in something that it feels fake. It feels like somebody cheated, right? Um, and I don't like it either.
But
But
it completely ruins something that I'd enjoyed. I enjoyed the documentary
yeah,
discovering how they're going to find the ship and what happened. And it was really fascinating. And I get to the end and say, okay, we used artificial intelligence. You won't know, but we used AI. And I just think, well, that was rubbish then. How do I know what was real? And I
right.
lost all interest. And I was
How do you?
really enjoying it. And then I got really annoyed.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I will sign up for that anti-AI group. And forgive me if I just sound old and cranky. I think if you have spent your life creating things, like if you are a painter, if you're a photographer, if you're a graphic designer, if you're a writer, if you're a musician, from the perspective of somebody who spent the last 35 years writing and editing, I mean, I don't even like Grammarly. I find Grammarly offensive to my editorial sensibilities. But to just create something completely from scratch, it's just kind of offensive to me as an artistic person. And it will be interesting to see moving forward how that dynamic plays out, because I know there are lots of other craftspeople out there who share that perspective, but it's battling against the pragmatism of, well, we can create the same thing faster, cheaper, and not have to worry about you. I think there's something that's fundamentally dehumanizing about AI, and I think there are going to be battles to be fought here about what we do about it, because I think there is a cost when AI replaces everything. So anyway, that's me ranting about AI.
I'll tell you how far I've ranted. On the front of our magazine, I'm putting a label that says AI free content.
Yes.
That's how far I am
Love it.
ranting.
I love it.
Because it really irks me very badly. Now,
Yes.
I wanted to talk to you about the Step Forward Awards, which you haven't
Yeah.
heard of.
No, I haven't heard of them. So tell me
It,
about them.
okay, it's a guy called O'Neill Dennis, who I keep on calling Dennis, even though I know that's his surname. But Dennis to me is a full name, not a surname. So
Right.
his
Well, when
name is
somebody has
O'Neill.
a last name for a first name,
Yeah.
it's confusing. I'm
It,
sorry,
it,
O'Neill Dennis.
No, yeah, he's a lovely guy. But anyway, O'Neill set this up because he wants to champion Christian artists, specifically around singing. So he
Uh-huh.
created something called the Step Forward Awards, which happens at the end of November 2025. So I will be
Okay.
going down. We've been invited down to go down as media. So we're going to take some photos and all that kind of jazz. But
That's
I
great.
thought it was fascinating because he really wants to encourage. And when you spend 5 minutes with him, which I have done several times, you realize this guy isn't just passionate about music. He's passionate about the people behind the music, and he so
Mm.
wants to get them encouraged, whether they sing Christian songs or it's songs and they happen to be a Christian. He just wants to build people up. And in today's world, I just think I'm looking forward to it. So there's going to be lots of people there. It'll be a great time. But it got me thinking about award ceremonies generally, things like
Uh-huh.
the Dove Awards, which you said is the American sort of
Yep.
contemporary Christian awards thing. Um,
Yep.
because it kind of gets into the media and it sort of looks a bit like what it's supposed to be. It's a black tie event, so I've got to buy a black tie thing, and
Right.
I don't have one of those. This is as smart as I get.
I had to go to an event that I had to actually purchase a tuxedo for. I'm like, well, this is a strange thing.
I
It's
know,
a strange thing.
but it got me thinking about how we celebrate people that the creative talent. We're talking about AI just a moment ago,
Yeah.
because I love how a songwriter can take nothing, an
Uh-huh.
inspiration, they stub their toe, and Johnny Cash happens, and it just
Right.
blows my mind.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. And I think that, those sorts of award shows give an opportunity to recognize artistic excellence. And I know there's a degree of subjectivity, especially if our favorite artist of some stripe didn't get chosen for a particular award. I mean, we've had all sorts of Grammys controversies over the years about so and so won, so and so didn't win. Kanye hijacking the mic from Taylor Swift, that sort of thing. But there's a recognition that, yeah, some there's art out there that deserves recognition. So I'll be curious to see how your experience there is.
I'm looking forward to it. I've never been to one. I literally have no idea what to expect. I've got a mate of mine who's on another radio station. I'm saying, how serious are they about the whole black tie thing? Yeah, no, you really have to. You can't turn up in
Yeah.
jeans and a
Well,
t-shirt. Ain't gonna work.
no, and you don't want to be the person who didn't get the memo because it's
Yeah,
horribly embarrassing.
and you won't get through the door. But I do like the idea of shouting about the good of people. We were
Yeah.
given a free newspaper today, and there's lots of truth in there, but it's so dark and depressing, and they're sort of
Yeah.
missing the light part,
Yeah.
if you like, the hope part, the fact that
Yes.
Jesus has already come and died for us. It's not some ethereal hope that we have to wonder. It's already good, and I
Yeah.
think that's what I'm looking forward to is seeing his heart and passion. That I've met him a few times, talked about his heart, and thinking I'm looking forward to seeing people being champion. And the thing he's really excited about is not just celebrating the really big famous Christians.
Uh-huh.
It's about all sorts of people, whether they are starting out or they've been doing it for 30 years. That's
Okay.
the bit that really drew me in to say, yes, I'm going to make the effort to be there. It's like a 10-hour round trip for me, but I think it's
Okay.
worth it.
Well, I will look forward to your report, Andy. It sounds terrific. And it's always fun to just sort of get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain too. And I hope that you have lovely interactions with people and that it's just a terrific opportunity to, to have some conversations with people that you have gotten to know maybe as a fan or just being aware of their music. I, a while back, had a chance to interview the guys from King and Country. And I mean, what a delight. It was just a pure delight to talk to Joel and Luke Smallbone and just hear their heart for what they do, which is exactly what you're talking about.
Now, generally, these chats are about popular culture plugged in, but it
Yes.
was a couple of things where I just thought I need to talk about these because this is really
Yeah.
of the moment and it's exciting. So we'll see. It's the end of November, so we're not there yet, but we'll see. I'll let you know. Um,
Okay.
would you like to do the reason why we're here in the first place,
Yeah.
theoretically, and give us some of the plugged in reviews?
Yeah. So let's talk about Nuremberg. Nuremberg is a new drama out this weekend. It stars Russell Crowe and Remy Malek. Frankly, I'm never going to get over Remy Malek's portrayal of Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, the guy just nailed it. It was unbelievable. And I know Freddie had some issues, obviously, but he nailed it there. And Russell Crowe, well, this is a World War II movie. It's about the lead up to the Nuremberg war trials after World War II. And what has happened is that the Allies have captured some of the top, surviving German generals and leaders. And Russell Crowe plays Hermann Goering. And Remy Malek is a psychiatrist who's hired basically to sort of um, keep these guys alive because they realize right away, a number of these people, if we give them much leeway, they're going to commit suicide. They aren't going to stand trial. And Michael Shannon plays Robert H. Jackson, the judge who presides or has the idea for this, and we see the sense of importance of no, we don't want to just execute them. We want to bring to light, the horror of what was perpetrated in the Holocaust. And the other thing about Rami Malek's character, Douglas Kelly, is that he is a psychiatrist who's really delving into the roots of human evil. And so he's, practically jumping at the chance to interact with Hermann Goering, which, you think about evil people, you go to the top of the Nazi hierarchy, after Hitler, Goering is probably the number two guy, right? And the interesting thing the film does is instead of saying, yes, evil is this thing confined to certain horrible people in the world, it sort of does just the opposite and says, these were people just like all the rest of us. And it doesn't do that by minimizing what they did, but suggesting that that seed of evil and the potential to choose really terrible things exists in all of us,
Mm.
which I think is this is not a Christian movie by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it does kind of parallel the idea that that the fall has fractured us with sin, and that sin influences who we are deeply as a human race, and that Jesus, as you were talking about, came to redeem us from that, but that we're all broken, and if we sort of think of evil as something that only a certain kind of person is capable of, we're actually not understanding how fallen the human condition is. So the movie sort of hints at that. I don't know that it even unpacks it quite that specifically, but it's an interesting take. You think you're going to get one thing, and I think that what the movie actually delivers is a far more nuanced take on the nature of evil. And obviously, we have references to the Holocaust. There's some profanity. This is not a movie for children, but we're not in like Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List territory either. So I think, for mature tweens on up, you could have a really terrific conversation about the nature of evil, some of the things that have happened, and especially right now, as we're seeing anti-Semitism on the rise around the world in so many places, it's an opportunity to revisit this thing called the Holocaust that happened, and it's not just an abstraction. So anyway, I've just spoke for like 5 minutes straight. I'll give you a chance to talk.
Do you know, this is the sort of film, I mean, when we phrase this carefully, that I would want to go out of my way to go and watch. I'm not going to say the word enjoy, because I don't think you can use that word with this.
Right.
However, I'm being very cautious here, but it is a sort of film that I would actually appreciate watching.
Yeah.
Uh, because I don't think we can talk about the Holocaust too much. Because the moment we start to suppress it and forget about it, oh, it's really horrible and it's evil and it's dark, and let's not
Yeah.
think about that, that's the moment it happens again. Because if we don't remember what we've done, we're not going to remember what we've done. It's that simple. And we
Right.
need to
It's that
recall.
simple. Yep. And I think that we're certainly in a moment like that with what's happening in the Middle East, and with without going too far off the political rails. I know, London has had an ongoing conversation about the role of Islam and, local politicians. And now, New York City this week just voted for, someone who is a social democrat, or democratic socialist, and, who is openly Muslim. And so I think it's a conversation when you have those worldviews that are clashing. How do we resolve those? How do we talk about the dignity of people who have deep conflict? And I think movies like this, at their best, can be a catalyst for those important conversations.
Which we need to have. I think you have this in America, but in the UK, going back not that long ago in the years term, all these statues are being ripped down. We don't want to remember
Yeah,
what they did. And
right.
I remember immediately thinking, whether you like it or you don't like it, you need to remember what they did, because you know that's part of history. You can't
Well,
eradicate
exactly.
history. That's really foolish, because
Yeah,
when you do that, we'll have the Holocaust all over again if we don't go out of our way to remember the evils. We don't need to
yep,
celebrate them. We don't need to enjoy them, but we do need
right.
to remember them.
No, that is exactly right. And I think that, we hear the word narrative in our culture a lot.
Mm.
Um, And we don't talk about truth much because I think the postmodern worldview is one that is sort of allergic to the idea of truth. And so where there is no truth, you just have my truth, your truth, their truth, this narrative, that narrative. And narratives are important. It's important to understand how things came to be, where people have come from. But as followers of Jesus, we also believe that there is a meta narrative, as the philosophers call it, that is objectively true, and that is that Jesus came and lived and died for all of us, that we might experience forgiveness from our sins and be brought back into right relationship with God. And as Christians, as people who hold to that in faith, it's just an ongoing challenge to think, how do I communicate those ideas in a way that potentially wins me the opportunity for conversation with somebody who doesn't believe the same thing, right? So anyway, I'm all about big conversations with movies like Nuremberg being a terrific way to wade into some hard things.
I've used it most of my time talking about what I'm doing, but hey, it happens. Adam, thank you. If people want to find out more about Nuremberg or any of the other
Yeah,
books, film CDs that you've reviewed, how do they do that?
you can come to pluggedin.com. And we, of course, are a ministry of Focus on the Family.
Adam, thank you.
You bet. Thank you, Andy.